Rashad, you're here every week now, man.
Yeah. Oh, I'm here every week? Yeah. I'm kind of getting used to it again a little bit. It's a blessing.
How's it feel?
Man, it feels great. I think I'm part of the stage of, the injury. I feel like, my journey is really just beginning. And, before anything, he may not get all the credit, but Chad Morton is an amazing running back coach. And, throughout my career here, last 4 years, I've never had somebody be so hard on me. And every day just expect greatness and the practice ethic and practice work. He just expects greatness from me every day. And, I really appreciate him. And, we get all the AP love and, everything. But AP has affected every single running back in the room. And I think he's done an amazing job of the aspect of bringing the energy to practice and being a leader. Like I said last week, we miss Chris Carson. We love him, and, we hope he gets back. And, he's easily a top 10 back in his league. And it's a blessing just being here.
Every week, Rashaad, we talk to you after one of these big games, and you have praised somebody else, the O-line, Adrian Peterson, Chad Morton. Has it been tempting at all to want to, instead of doing that, to kind of rub it in the face of all the people who have, you talked about the people who said kind of nasty things about you online. Has it ever been tempting to kind of shove it back in people's faces?
No, that's not who I am. I mean, that's them saying it, ain't me. I'm just gonna sit back and read it, and I used to take it as a bad thing. Now it's just a laugh. But like I said, this is a beginning of my journey. I'm blessed. I'm healthy, and I'm going into off season where I'm gonna have time to, not rehab as much and get to work, and that's probably the most exciting thing for me.
You get back in the next couple of days here, Rashaad. What will you say you accomplished in the last month?
Adversity. Adversity was something that hit me pretty tough and I didn't take well. And then now it's just like I can laugh at it in the face. But, again, my journey isn't over. I want to keep pushing forward. I want to keep going because I know what I can do. And, when I'm on the field, I know I'm confident in my abilities, and I know everybody else. And, I think that was the biggest thing, is just getting over the humps and the small injuries. It was always the small injuries because of the big one. But I'm thankful where I'm at today.
When it comes to that you talk about giving credit to other people, what would you credit for that play and you hit that crease, go 62 yards for the touchdown?
I mean, you got to credit the big guys. I mean, they make the hole, and they do it. They like I said, they do it every week, every season. These guys are amazing. They perfect their craft, and I think the best thing about it is even though the season didn't go as well as we wanted, but we treated every single week like it was a championship week. I'm telling, practice every day. You can see the tempo. You can see guys really wanting to be out there, and not like it was the end of the season. We felt like it's the beginning, and we're about to get ready for a playoff run. So the coaches, bringing the energy every day, and us just believing, and that's pretty much it.
Visibly upset after Quandre's injury. Just seems like a guy who means a lot to you guys. Obviously, free agency's coming. What was your reaction? What did you think of it?
He deserves everything that's coming his way. I mean, I've never been around someone like Quandre before. He calls me little man, and we all know. But he's a great dude. I love him. I mean, everybody else on this team love him. Everybody got going to be with him throughout this the journey. I think it's only going to make him better. I think all injuries make every player who's been through adversity better, and I could speak for that, and I know a lot of people can speak in the room about it as well.
You expecting or hoping to be back with the Seahawks next year?
Man, I love to be back home. This is home to me, and it just, I would love to be back.
Have they given you any assurances or words that, okay, we'll take care of you?
I don't know. Yeah, but yeah. But like I said, this is home, and I would love to be back here. This team that brought me in, and I'll be thankful to be back.
Did Coach Dickerson bring anything new that's really helped your game this year?
And he just how much the passion, and he loves to run the ball, and practice, it's just the small details, and the small details is what leads to the big plays out here. You know, the low linemen getting their foot in the ground, getting up to the second level. It's just the small things, and I think our running backs that we have on our team we can all do all this. You know, we got a lot of great running backs on our roster. You know, AC was doing it for a while. Chris did it before he got hurt. Travis had big runs. DJ played well. You know, even young guy Josh. You know, everybody can do all this. You know, O-line, you know, just small things, and then, you know, from there on, it's just about making plays.
Have you, I assume you've been talking to Chris. Where's he at in his recovery, and what have your conversations been like here?
That's a crazy thing. Like, when I was dealing with my injury, Chris, we never talked a single day about injuries. We always talked about, like, cartoons, you know, Pablo Escobar. We was always off topic. So, but it's just to keep us, you know, off our mind, you know, the injury at hand. But I'm assuming, because we don't talk about it as much, I'm assuming he's doing great. And, you know, I hope the best for him, and I wish he can come back and finish what he started, because he deserves it. I mean, you know, he's been the focal point of our offense for a while, and, you know, we miss him. And his attitude, the style of play, it helped all of us as backs see what a bruising back in this league can do. And, you know, we miss him, and I love Chris.
How much do you balance what's going to happen over the course of the year with, you know, bringing AP in and then Chris Carter go down, and then, of course, you know, there's the year injury, and then, of course, you go on the run, it's 4 out of 6 you win. Then situation versus, say, motivation from bringing AP in, and, you know, after you were on the IR.
Yeah, when Chris went down, you know, I think the running back room took a big halt. Like, we was all like, you know, somebody got to step up, somebody got to take that role. And, you know, AC done a great job, you know, the games he played. And then, you know, unfortunately, he had something he was dealing with. And then, you know, bringing AP in, I felt like was just a motivational boost for the running backs. You know, and I'm telling you, the first day of walkthrough, it was a walkthrough, and we call it Pro Bowl walkthrough. And it's literally the slowest we ever go. AP came out there flying, and I went to him and I asked, like, you know, this is Pro Bowl. We supposed to be walking, and he was like, you get your footing right, you get to see everything, and, you know, everything else will take care of itself. So, learning that from him, and just knowing that, you know, just me pushing myself every day, and pushing myself every day through walkthroughs and practice, it will show up in result on the field.
Is that what you guys call the Wednesday walkthrough?
Yeah, Pro Bowl walkthrough. Yeah.
I'm trying to read whatever the word or the name is. What is it?
Oh, Desiree. That's my mom. My heart and joy, man. Everything to me. And, you know, again, my family pushed me to be someone that, you know, I never knew I could be, and, you know, I'm really thankful for them.
What are the cartoons you appreciate?
Man, the last cartoon we talked about, I always talk to him about SpongeBob. We just be joking and laughing about stuff. We so like, he'd text me and he'd be like, bro, I'm learning how to make cars and stuff. Like, I'm trying to build a car now. And then the next conversation will be about, like, bro, did you watch the new Narcos or anything? So, like, it's always just, like, interesting, cool conversations. And I think that's, like, our brotherhood is, like, it goes far, and just football, and we're, like, off the field very close.
Anything else? Thanks for sharing.
I appreciate it.
Good to see you guys.